Okay, so you saw like Peter Frampton and Christopher.
We did. We saw
Which is going to be they're going to be the ACL.
I would like to see everybody for out.
Yeah.
But he plays every once in a while.
Derail it.
That was my forte, USA.
Welcome to the City of Castle Hills Parks and Projects Commission meeting. Today, Saturday, May 11th at 10:03 in the morning. Welcome, and let's see if we have a quorum, and we do have a quorum, so we'll proceed. We're going to move to item number 3, discussion and possible action on identified projects in the commons, shade structures, stage, and other amenities, including phase 2 of the commons project.
Second.
Who wants to go over the plans? Ryan, you want to go over the plans?
I'm
okay.
Putting this on the screen real quick. Should already be open.
Sweet.
I'm not sure why it's not sharing it, but it did.
Now it's up.
It's up. Yeah, it just doesn't show the screen there because it will, if we don't, we won't be able to see you all on the screen. Sorry. That's fine. Well, I think at this point, let's just go ahead and do that. And then when we do, people will be able to see this. Okay. First, I wanted to show you all sort of a new layout conceptually based on our last meeting. We discussed obviously the pavilions, the concrete in between the pavilions that would be there to connect those pavilions. And then what they've rendered is we talked about the sort of brick pavers. So conceptually, that's kind of what it looked like. Now, the brick pavers is an idea, obviously, to raise funds, memorialize like we've done with the picnic tables. I mean, the benches. I just would need probably working with another group, maybe CHCO, maybe that's Women's Club, to kind of help start that drive to get us there. And then we just kind of, from a Parks and Projects, figure out what that brick may look like and how big we want that to be to lay in there, and then figure out a price, those kind of things. So conceptually, this is what it would look like. Now, if you see there, I gave you a copy of the renderings that was put together. This is what y'all requested. The pillars being brick and then that type of styled roof, which was sort of flat with the 4 sides. I think that's exactly what y'all wanted versus the canopy type one that was in the Fisher Park in New Braunfels. So I think this does the rendering. Our engineer said to scope, opinion of cost is $45,000 for each one of those pavilions. He did also say, because those are 25 by 25, I believe. And then the stage, which is under construction out there, would be, I think, 16 by 16. And that would be, if not similar or a slightly lower price, if we wanted to put the same type of pavilion structure on the stage, or at some point we can figure out what, maybe a cantilever or whatever. I think we can figure that down the road. But the main focus here is the 2 pavilions price and getting a consideration from y'all, and then we can move this on to council. And And then the second piece would be how we, if you wanted to move forward with the brick pavers and getting that done, that would be a second phase to trying to raise money through those bricks and getting that aspect done as well. This has been tweaked. Mr. Joyce and I met with the engineers a few weeks ago, but not much has changed other than a little bit of the pavilions. Everything's marked out for the sculptures. Second phase, obviously conceptually, has pickleball court, community garden, and then the bathrooms in the left corner there as well. So
It's looking good.
it is. Now, dollar wise, we're going to be kicking off our budget a little earlier. At the end of this month, have a workshop. I'll go with council about how much we have in ARPA. I think give or take about 350,000 and change. And then in our seed money, we have, I think, about 300,000 and change a little bit. Part of that we'll be looking at, I have Big Sun Solar looking at the cost of basically putting solar panels on the fire station, what that might look like. And then I've reached out to the city of New Braunfels to find out who and what the cost was to add those solar panels on the pavilions they did at Fisher Park, because that was an add-on after the fact. So I'm working on getting that information as well. So council's asked for information like that for potential solar, for whether that's on the pavilion or on the fire station itself. So
Nice.
my goal is to have that at our workshop May 21st at City Council.
Great. Does anybody have any comments about the structure itself and or the where the placement or anything about the amenities right now? The shade structures, basically.
Not being an engineer, it does appear that was what was sort of directed.
Right. Yes. So it looks great.
Okay. Mr. Joyce?
I think it looks really good. Thank you, Ryan, for working with those guys. I think they did a nice job. I think it looks very classy, very professional. And I like the materials. It's solid. It's going to be durable for a long, long time. I wish the price was lower, but that's what prices are today. I really like it, and I would suggest that y'all move forward with it.
Yes. So, we have a motion?
I motion that we move forward with it. Plan as it is.
Have a second? Okay, now we can discuss more too.
Now, keep in mind that we're talking two of them about 90,000, almost probably 100,000. So we're going to have to bid this out, and it's a little different than what the stage is, because I think what we've priced them doing the stage right now is around 17,000. So, which was fairly a good price.
Right.
Based on the work that they're doing out there. We had the engineering plans. I know Mr. Joyce saw them yesterday. And so they're working to do everything exactly like the engineer plans. They've been tweaked a little bit. The ramp behind it, there's some dead space that they're going to backfill at Rick's request, but overall, they should be done. Their goal is to be done by Thursday and ready for next Saturday night for the concert in the Commons.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the rebar going in.
Awesome.
And and if you haven't noticed, all the picnic tables, benches all look the same. And then at the request of a resident who will not be named, we got a dog waste station out there.
Nice.
Have a what? Oh, the dog station.
Yeah, dog.
Yes. We're actually going to get another one because it makes sense to have one on the other side as well, near the other trash cans. So that's ready to go. I know that someone had mentioned that previously about not having those bags out there. So that's ready to go. We're just going to get another one to put on the other side of the Commons.
Nice. It's perfect.
And Rick pulled in that dirt. He's going to backfill it with some areas of the Commons. And so he's got a plan for it. It's not a new playground edition for the kids.
Yeah.
So
They were thinking it was.
I think this looks really good. And I think in terms of cost, we also have to think about the flat work, the concrete work, and the pavers. Well, I don't know, it's probably not figured into the 45,000, but I don't know. It wouldn't be a lot more, but maybe another 5 or 10,000 for all of that work. And would design cost have to be added as well, Ryan, or do you already have that taken care of out of your engineering budget?
I think as far as the budget should be fine. I mean, this is all coming out of the general engineering because I had tasked them to put together the stage and the commons itself. So when we do go out for bid, they'll probably you know, fine tune it because it'll have to be ready for set plans for bidding. So they'll lay in the potential cost for the sidewalk or the connection of the concrete there. But I'm probably just going to need a little more time on the brick pavers if that's exactly what y'all want to do.
Yeah.
Which I think it makes sense depending on how many bricks, and we need to raise money for phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, question running through my mind is the sculpture pedestals. Do we want to include this as part of this project or defer that to another time? I don't think it would be a big ad. Didn't they say $2,500 a piece or something? Wasn't that the estimate for each of these pedestals? If
Yeah, I
memory
believe
serves?
so.
It's probably going to be more than that with the electric. But I don't know. Would you mind asking the engineers
Yeah.
how hard it would be to add them, Ryan? Because they only have to do 2 or 3 little tiny drawings to incorporate that. Because otherwise, I think those little things might fall through the cracks. Through the crack. Whatever it is.
Well, it makes sense to have one contractor build everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, I really like the look of the shade structure,
Mhm.
the roof line.
It's a hip roof.
Mhm.
It's actually incorrectly identified in the note here. It says it's a gable roof. It's actually a hip roof. But it does have an implication on the potential for solar panels, in my opinion, because it's a smaller area.
Mhm.
It's not a gable with a big long
Right,
run.
right,
It's a
right.
smaller area, so you can't get as many. The solar panel idea is even less feasible, in my opinion, in this scenario.
So what I'll do is also have them put a full rendering, which is an illustration, because we're going to eventually bring this to council. They'll see what they look like, maybe
Right.
3D color illustration. So I assume if you, like we were talking, like some dark green color roofs, or I
Mhm.
mean,
Why don't we bring some experts in to help with that? Would be my suggestion.
okay.
Maybe the art committee.
Whatever y'all decide.
Let me.
I'm not
contact
a
them if
creative
they-
color
Yeah.
selection of
Contact
roofs.
them and see if they'll help select, and a stone too. We might want to select
Right.
a stone.
Yeah, I'll find out the specifics, because if they're mirroring what was done at Fisher Park that they did for New Braunfels, then I have to find out exactly what particular stone that was for the brick pillars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got some recommended.
What's that, Ron?
I got the rocks I could use.
Native.
Do we have a target price for the bricks, so we can kind of back figure that?
I think that's the cost of the 45,000 is
Yeah,
pillars and roof.
yeah. I think what Rob is asking is what allowance do they have in there for the stone?
Oh, the bricks. I was going to reach out to a couple cities that I know who did that and find out what their methodology for was, because as I told Mr. Joyce yesterday, that's sort of not my area of expertise of deciding what the brick looks like, the size of brick, and what the cost of that brick is. I have some familiarity with the project that was done in downtown when I was in Brenham, but those weren't brick. Those were little concrete stamps and
Right.
sections with plates on there or engraved. And those were like 8 by 11 size, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so and they're probably donating probably at least 1,000 or above on those things.
Yeah, they got some downtown, they got some.
Right, at Lackland. And at the Museum, does anybody know how much those cost at the museum for the?
I don't know. I know some money. I can find out.
Okay.
It's been 6 years since I've
Yeah.
been to Doceum. Since having a daughter is 12.
Yeah, and with those pavers, I mean,
Bernard should know.
yeah, I don't know how much they are, but I see them all the time.
But we can find that out as well.
Yeah, and sometimes they can lay those pavers, and then when you get a sponsorship, you can just like take one out and put it in. So you can finish your project and still move forward with, so yeah, so I like it. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the shade structures?
Just
So-
one quick request or question of Ryan. Is it possible to get samples from the engineers, or is that something we have to do ourselves? Sample of the metal to the roof?
No, I think that's an easy request.
Okay, sample of the pavers,
Sample of the paver.
sample of the stone.
Are you talking about the paver, the brick pavers we put in? Okay, yeah. And then the roof itself?
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 colors to choose from. Maybe a silver, green and a red or something, I don't know. We have to keep in mind with the pavers that Rick has installed up front are already kind of reddish.
Mhm.
Right.
There's a lot of red there already. So, but anyway, if they can get us samples of those 3 things, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, and I just, after I saw this yesterday, I didn't even I should ask them how they accounted for the sections of the brick pavers, how much they think, how many bricks could we get in there possibly,
Mhm.
He's got it. He's got a note there about it, Ryan.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. It's about the 1, 2, 3, 6 note down on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
1,500 pavers.
Yeah, roughly.
So I think that's
Well,
total.
it's a ballpark, but
Yeah.
but it gets us in the
Oh, I
area.
see what you're saying, 1,500. Okay. It's at least 10 bricks at 100 by the Udemeyer, so.
Yeah,
right
at
there.
least. So true. All right, so let's take a vote and on the shade structures. To move forward, to let Ryan do his thing with council and the engineers.
But I won't come to council until I have, do you want to have, like you had asked, the paver, stone, brick, all that to come back here to look at, and then we send the whole thing to council?
I think that would be best. I think we make a simple recommendation to council, colors done, so they don't have to fumble with
Yeah.
Mhm.
selections and things.
So like the next meeting, try to have all that detail
Yeah.
for y'all, which would be like June, and then council can make a decision in July.
Right, and if the engineers can get us the samples ahead of time, I can visit with the art committee and have a decision by next month for this meeting.
But conceptually, y'all approve the
Yes,
structure itself. Okay.
voted. All right, so we're gonna make this a short meeting today. We're gonna skip over 4, discussion possible action on priorities tasks related to comprehensive plan.
Well,
Mr.
Or
George.
do you want, I'm sorry,
One thing about that is,
okay,
I'll let Mr. Joyce.
Oh,
answer,
sorry.
'cause
We
I'm
won't
sure-
skip
I'm
over
sure
it.
he wants to talk about our branding committee.
yes.
There you go.
Right.
Sorry, Mr. Joyce, good. Thank you, Vic.
You're welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, we are making good progress, I would say. On the first item, the economic development, we had a very exciting presentation yesterday, thanks to Mr. Rapley. He invited a gentleman by the name of Aaron Farmer, who runs a company called the Retail Coach. And what they do is analytics for retail for municipalities like ours, bigger. And Mr. Farmer made a really nice presentation after a lot of study of cell phone data from all of the Castle Hills businesses. He looked at the cell phone data from all the Castle Hills businesses and had some analysis that suggested which businesses would have a better chance for success. I think that's kind of the bottom line, based on who shops here and based on the demographics. And so I think that'll be a big help to the Economic Development Committee as we grapple with, okay, what does economic development mean? How do we achieve that? And so it was, everybody enjoyed it, was impressed. And so we're moving on down the highway there. We are also working on an incentive policy. We have a little subcommittee now that's working on that. That's something that Ryan and the mayor have asked us to expedite. So hopefully next month we'll have a draft of that internally and then perhaps have something for council shortly thereafter. On the branding thing, yes, as Mr. Rapley hinted, the city has hired a group called Creative Civilization, a well-known company. You heard of Go Spurs Go. You might have seen it in the Castle Hills Reporter. They had a little blip about it. We haven't gotten ours yet, but anyway. But they're a very well-known group. They've done a lot of good things for San Antonio regional companies over a 20-year period. So we feel very good about that. With Mr. Rapley's help, we got them for a very good price. And so we're starting on, we've actually had a kickoff meeting, but next Monday, we start meeting in earnest. We have a little subcommittee on council. And so we're meeting with them and Mr. Rapley and moving ahead.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's branding. The third thing is and I think I've talked about this, the green space. And with Mr. Rapley's help, we have had the engineers look at the option, hopefully a real possibility, of adding a trail to that Cameria East Castle drainage ditch. They told us that the whole thing can't be a linear park. The hydraulics just won't allow it. But they're looking at the possibility of running a trail along the channel because it's so beautiful.
Right.
It's just magnificent. So there was a little bit of a premium for that. I think the design was an extra $25,000. We don't know yet what the actual extra cost might be to do that. But anyway, that's underway. But I think before too long, we probably want to come up with another group of suggestions for council. Now, the next priority, the next 4 and 5 priorities somehow both relate to green space and connecting our neighborhoods. So I would suggest that perhaps this month we give that some thought, and maybe next month think about another brief presentation to council suggesting that here's what's next. There are a lot of little things in Ryan's list here that we haven't done yet, and I think we probably just need to, a lot of them, for example, are environmentally oriented. They're very nice ideas, like try to use less plastic, try to convince the city members, residents to use less plastic, just encourage good habits, good environmentally friendly habits. And I think we just need an advocate for that, and I'm thinking about asking Kurt May maybe to head that up, or maybe Jason Smith. But anyway, I'll try to figure out who might be able to run that flag. So anyway, that's Ryan. That's all I have to say on that.
No, I think you covered it. And then speaking of economic development, I think y'all heard that HEB is going to put 10 million into the store here. So
Nice. I didn't hear.
Be quite a boost.
That's really good.
And also related to economic development, I have a question. Do you know whether there's any desire either for or against Google Fiber coming into Castle Hills?
Yeah, so I have a meeting in the next week or two scheduled with them.
Okay.
We had a license agreement already reviewed by Mr. Schnall.
Mhm.
I sent him Mr. Schnall's red line comments. So once we finalize the license agreement, we'll sit down and talk about next step, logistics, all of that. They just finished it up a few months ago back in Chavano Park. And so it's in the pipeline, as they say.
So it's coming.
Well, I mean, ultimately it will have to come to city council, and there's some things about right of way that we need to
Sure.
make sure, we have brand new streets. We don't need them tearing into the streets, but I understand they just go along the easement there. But I don't know exact time frame, but I'm hoping, possibly within the next 4 to 6 months, we can finalize something and have them out here operating, hopefully. But it's already in the pipeline.
Thank you.
Nice. Any other discussion? Comments? Nice. Okay, well, let's pick the time of our next meeting. June? June sound good to everybody? Any suggestions, Ryan?
Let me look. Well, I'm just looking at my calendar personally. I mean,
Yeah.
at the 22nd, I'm out of town for city manager conference, but
And the 16th is Father's Day.
yep, yeah.
Okay,
I think that works for me.
That's fine.
June 8th. All right. So the next time of the next meeting will be June 8th at 10 o'clock here in the chambers. Motion to adjourn?
My motion to adjourn.
Nice.
I second.
Great. And we are adjourned. Thank y'all for coming today and helping out the community. Commons is looking awesome. It's
Yes.
looking really good.
Comments. Great.